coming. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
It's a football Friday. It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. And it's also Mia's birthday. Happy birthday, Mia. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. More importantly, it is Juan Soto's birthday and game 1 of the World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers tonight. So I am feeling even better about that MyBookie parlay that I placed earlier this week for both he and Shohei to have an anytime home run this evening. Now that I know I share a birthday with Mr. Wonderful.
He turns how old today?
Juan Soto is 26? 26 as of today. Yep,
Pretty
I thought so.
accomplished for a 26-year-old.
When you win the World Series at 19,
correct.
You set the bar pretty damn high.
And
How
then
do
he's
you
going to
feel?
get paid
Do you
at
have,
the end of the season, too.
Are you nervous? Or are you excited?
About the Yankees?
Yeah. Because I felt like I was going to throw up before every game.
I would say I mean, I don't want to say indifferent because that's awful. That's an awful word to use. I would say that clearing this bar, I know it's not the standard, but at the same time, it has been 15 years.
Yeah.
And so I think knowing the weight of the world that has been lifted off of Aaron Judge's shoulders, but also knowing the weight of the world that could be placed on these gentlemen's shoulders if they don't win or if they're swept by the Dodgers, I recognize that at the same time. But no, there's no nerves.
Yeah.
I understand the concerns surrounding Juan Soto and the idea of, well, he very well could sign a lucrative deal with another team. And if he really is this alpha dog that you've been saying, Mia, that he is, that this team needed that guy, and now they lose him, maybe this is their only chance of the Aaron Judge era. And I don't want to go that far because that's way too dramatic.
Yeah.
But no, I think that, to be frank with you, Taylor, especially since we were just talking off the air, Lauren, about how I haven't gotten back to everyone who has sent me a happy birthday note, which thank you all very much. That includes my good friend and friend of the program, John Alba. And I would argue the most nervous or upset I've been today for the Yankees World Series Game 1 tonight has been when I saw that John, a Yankees fan since birth, picked the Dodgers in 6 games. That is the most frustrated that I have felt today, or most nervous or pit in my stomach feeling I have felt as a Yankees fan. So thank you, John Alba. And yes, let's go Yankees.
I get nervous before every regular season Florida game, before every single Jaguars game, and that's before they make the playoffs, which hasn't happened for a while for my college football team, which I get a break tomorrow. I get to watch college football without being nervous at all.
It's so nice.
Florida's on a bye week. It's going to be glorious. The weather's beautiful. And why do I get the sense, Taylor, that the Jaguars are going to pull an upset on Sunday? I haven't felt like that all week. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, why do I feel that in my gut it's going to go well for the hometown team? We know there's going to be a ton of Packers fans.
Yeah.
We know that the Packers can score at will, basically. They average over 26 points a game. Jordan Love, yes, has the 8 interceptions, but he also has 15 touchdowns, and he missed 2 games with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So think of how many more touchdown passes, maybe potentially interceptions too, but he could have.
Yeah.
But yet, why do I get the sense that with Foye Oluokun returning, Tyson Campbell back for a second week in a row, that the Jaguars are somehow, some way miraculously going to pull off an upset? Tell me I'm crazy.
I was like, I don't know.
Taylor's not feeling that way, I don't think.
I don't know. I know
you're cheering for the Jaguars this week.
Oh, definitely. We will have Peter Bukowski on later to talk about the Packers, and I'm going to ask him this because I sat on his podcast earlier in the week, and he said himself he doesn't like technically this phrasing or the word, but he used the word trap game, and he said, I do feel like this weekend is kind of a trap game.
People don't like to use trap in the NFL. They love it in college. They don't like it in the NFL.
And he was alluding to that in the podcast too, but he was also kind of saying he did feel like if that's kind of the vibes he was getting from it. To me, that trap game word in college, like we said, we use it a lot, but in the NFL, it's teams that use it that know they are better than a team, but are just afraid that things are going to go wrong, and they don't so they use that trap game because then after they could be like, see, I knew it was a trap game, like we should have won that game, but this, and this.
CYA. The Packers have the Lions next week.
Yes.
So that's why if it is a trap game, it's because you are playing against a team that you think is inferior, and they are.
Yeah.
At least the way they've showed through the first 7 weeks of the season. And because you are looking ahead to the next week.
Next week, yes. And so I do think that clearly Foye Oluokun being back does add an element. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Foye and Ventrell and Devin Lloyd, because that's obviously been a big conversation. I think that Tyson Campbell clearly makes your secondary better. I'm not sure how good your secondary is even with Tyson, just because I think there's a lot of other very exploitable pieces in the secondary. But I do think Tyson makes it better. I'm not sure what that better is at this point. We will see.
Sometimes people probably do want to push the explode button.
I know, not explode. They're explodable.
Like Ronald Darby obviously hasn't been good.
Yeah.
And so, what does the secondary look like this week?
And they had to move things around. We talked about that when it comes to Darnell Savage. Obviously, the Packers are familiar with Darnell Savage, and they don't have they don't think super highly of Darnell Savage. When I mentioned his name in the podcast, Peter was kind of like, okay, like shrugged his shoulders a little bit. And there's a reason Green Bay didn't want to keep him. And so, but that's free agency. That's kind of what it is. But I do think that when you watch the Jaguars, and not this season, because I don't even think I want to talk about last week and compare the Patriots to the Packers, because they're far different teams. But when you go back to moments when things are working for the Jags and you look at all of the pieces and when the guys are healthy and you see this offensive line starting to play better, and I'm sure we'll get to the Cam Robinson conversation later too.
The text line's already asking, but continue.
No, but when you feel this is a team that everybody thought was already going to be better. So you've seen Trevor Lawrence week by week, especially this last few weeks, start making the throws that you knew he could make. You see this connection starting to grow with Brian Thomas Jr. You see Tank getting more comfortable and being utilized in the right way every week. So there definitely are things trending in the right direction. I am still more concerned about the defense. I just don't think this defense has been able to do enough to stop the Packers offense right now and go up against the Packers offensive line. And I heard Jeff Prosser talking about it the other day. The Jags haven't won a home game against a good team since the Chargers in the playoff game. Like, it's been a long time since they've been able to beat a good team at home.
Because their only victories at home have been twice over the Colts, over the Tennessee Titans, and over the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So that's cool.
That's the bottom of the NFL.
What's crazy, though, is before that Chargers playoff game, you defeated
the end of that year.
The Dallas Cowboys at home. You defeated the Baltimore Ravens at home.
And that's what you look at. And that's what I'm saying.
too.
And when I've been talking about these last few weeks, if you see that Trevor Lawrence that was at the end of 2022, if you see that Christian Kirk that was at the end of 2022, and Foye and Josh Hines-Allen, all of those, Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco, honestly, even at the end of that 2022 season, all of those guys were playing at their peak. And not saying that their peak of their career, but just like the best that we've seen them play as a group, as a whole, in that time frame. If you saw that Jags this weekend, then they do have a chance. If you see any other Jags from the last year, you don't.
Mia, today is also Brian Kelly's birthday.
Oh, boy. I don't know how I feel about that now. Man, Lauren, way to put a wet towel on the birthday. Here I am riding high with Juan Soto. And, Picasso's born on my birthday. I guess we won't talk about, how things ended for him. But I think it's Van Gogh. One of the two. Either way. So, Taylor, you said it was Peter Bukowski who's going to join us later in the program. He is the one who said to you about the trap game.
Yeah.
Okay, because I joined Mason Crosby, of course, the former Packers kicker, who now does a radio show in Milwaukee. I joined him yesterday, and he, unsolicited, brought up the words trap game.
Yeah.
Which, now that I've heard two people in the media circles, and, of course, a former Packer, in Green Bay referencing trap game, that's my only concern now, because Lauren, I did, and perhaps as one of our Heeligans noted on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, if only because of the sunny blue skies, perhaps both of us woke up this morning with this sunny disposition of, hey, the Jags could pull the upset, they could shock the world on Sunday, because I certainly did as well. But now that I'm hearing multiple people in Green Bay are saying trap game, I have pause, because when asked about that yesterday, what I told Mason was, I believe in trap games. I watched this team in this town, 1-1 record, but had just lost to the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs by a one-possession game the week prior, host the Houston Texans week 3 of last year, and that was the ultimate trap game of all trap games. Perhaps it was a sign of things to come, of a team that, in Doug Peterson's words, not mine, was perhaps reading its press clippings a little too much.
Yeah.
But the point is that the Jaguars self-admitted at this point, the Jaguars went into that game thinking they were playing directional West Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And directional West Missouri does not exist in the National Football League. Every team is good. Every team is capable of coming out on Sunday and shocking the world, quote unquote. And so therefore, I wonder if
Green Bay noticing that. They're not coming in and saying this is a win. They're coming in and thinking like, okay, this team hasn't been, the record does not show they've been very good, but they have enough pieces and weapons that they can be competitive.
Yes, correct. And they I think they recognize the expectations and the talent, if only on paper, that were here in Jacksonville at the start of the season. But no, I think that the idea of the word trap game being mentioned so frequently now in Green Bay circles, that's the only thing that's pulling me back from saying I believe that an upset is possible on Sunday, because I do think it's a trap game for them. You're coming off of an emotional victory last week, a walk-off field goal win at that. You have to play the NFC North's leading Detroit Lions next week. That is certainly, again, if only on paper, more important of a game for you in the long run than winning in Jacksonville.
Please don't let Brandon McManus have a walk-off field goal win in Jacksonville.
No, I think the karma and the gods are nicer than that. And plus now they think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I don't think we have to worry about that, Lauren.
I can't have that.
Although I did say last week that, maybe it would be fun to see JaMychal Hasty. And, we saw JaMychal Hasty this past weekend when the Jaguars played the Patriots. So that's the only reason that now that I know there's multiple people from the Green Bay camp referencing that word trap game in the public sphere, that's the one thing that's keeping me off the cliff, not jumping full throttle into the potential of an upset.
Well, we'll make our picks a little bit later in the show. We'll also talk some Fall Classic as it does begin tonight. But right now, when it comes to the injuries, Mia's got the latest.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah,
Jacksonville,
exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes, let's address the Cam situation head on, since several of you Heeligans have already, well said, have already reached out on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. He was limited in yesterday's practice. I was present for yesterday's practice. He did have a non-contact pinion as he progresses through the concussion protocol. As for 210 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures asking if Cam is good to go, do you think Walker Little is back on the bench given how well Walker played last week? And yeah, at this juncture, I mean, until proven otherwise. And again, Cam Robinson still has to progress through the concussion protocol. There's several steps that need to be passed, but at the very least, Lauren and Taylor, I wasn't expecting to see him on the practice field yesterday. So when I did, I said, wow. Okay, we're trending in the right direction to play on Sunday.
The neurologists in Jacksonville tend to clear players, it seems like, faster than other places because Josh Hines-Allen suffered a concussion and played the very next week. A lot of times you see it take a couple weeks, so it wouldn't
Brisker's been
surprise
out
me.
3 weeks with the
right,
concussion.
and we understand that there are different severity levels to
CJ
concussions.
Stroud missed 2 games last year.
Correct, yeah. But in the end, if I'm Doug Peterson, I would have Walker Little in the starting lineup, and I would let Cam be the backup because he did suffer a concussion. It's not just I tweaked something.
And Walker played well.
I
know a lot of people are rooting for Walker to be out there, honestly.
Right. And that's the only thing. I agree with Lauren that you say to Cam, you know what? You're still coming back. We want you to be 100% healthy. You have a history of injuries. Let's just play it smart this week and play Walker. What happens if the Jags do win on Sunday again with Walker Little?
Yeah. Then you ride the hot hand.
Trade Cam.
And you
There's
put $20 million on the bench.
Offensive linemen right now.
Well, Christian Darrisaw goes down last night in front of all of our eyes on national television, and so
I think it's a knee sprain, so he
okay.
Be out for the
I
season.
hadn't seen the update yet. I've been busy this morning, but yes, thank you. Yeah, happy birthday to me. Continuing the injury report, brought to you, of course, by Farah and Farah. Great to see Evan Ingram, a full participant for the first time since he suffered that hamstring injury week 2 during pregame warmups against the Cleveland Browns. He was a full participant on Thursday, so that's obviously great to see. Some other players who were limited in practice on Thursday for the Jags, Eric Armstead still with the shoulder injury, Gabe Davis with a knee, Travis Etienne with a hamstring of note. I did not see him during the open availability portion of practice with a non-contact pinion. That is good news for his probability of playing on Sunday. Asezio Tomewa was limited with the calf injury, and then Foye Oluokun and Andrew Wingard still in that 21-day window to be activated off the reserve injured list. Both players were on the field in pads, in uniform, and were both limited on Thursday.
All right, the final injury report for the week will come out later, so we'll keep.
Oh, we don't want to do the Packers? We're just ignoring the Packers?
No, we can.
Yeah, okay. Quickly run through the Packers. Backup corner, Corey Ballantyne, is the only player who has not practiced this week, both days, with an ankle injury. Again, that's a backup corner for the Packers. The two of note for me were Elgden Jenkins and Josh Myers, the two offensive linemen. And according to Pete Prisco of CBS Sports, the two best linemen for the Green Bay Packers. They both did not practice on Wednesday with a glute and wrist injury, respectively. They were both limited on Thursday, and so we'll find out if they do practice up in Wisconsin today. And finally, speaking of concussions, Quay Walker, who did not play last week, or rather early on in the game, he suffered his concussion, the former Georgia linebacker. He was limited and did return to practice in a limited fashion after not practicing on Wednesday.
All right, good stuff. We have a tangent when we return. Taylor has a tangent, that is. It's Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. Find them online at sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243. You can find their latest project that Caleb and the team did on 1010XL's Instagram. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Sometimes it's a stunning performance.
3 touchdowns tonight.
Sometimes it's the guy who gets the job done.
He doesn't take a play off.
Listen from a Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
He is a difference maker now.
On 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Go to WM.com/Duval.
Make your dream of living in luxury a reality in Lennar's newest 55 and up active adult community, Edenbrook at Highland Trail. Located in the heart of Green Cove Springs, Edenbrook offers world-class amenities with a dedicated activities director and homes starting in the high 300s. With rates as low as 3.99% and up to $50,000 in flex cash on our new Edenbrook homes, the time to buy is now. Call 904-643-3750 to find out more. Your life of luxury awaits in Edenbrook at Highland Trail by Lennar.
Getting you ready for the game. Pre-Game Friday. Brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Mia here in Heeligans, you have been killing it betting with MyBookie, turning spreads, over-unders, and prop bets into straight cash this season. Huge local game Saturday night as the Noles are 21-point dogs at Miami. And, of course, those Canes riding into this game undefeated. All day Sunday, you can get in on the action, too. The Packers travel to Jacksonville, where they are 4-point favorites. The Seahawks, 3-point home dogs to the Bills with a 47-point over-under total. That's a high total number with key players on both sides injured. The under has been crushing it this year across the board, so take advantage. Then, the most bet-on game each week is, of course, Sunday Night Football. Yes, it's the Cowboys in primetime, again, taking on the 49ers. I'd look hard at the under here, too, with so many injuries for San Francisco. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. Best sign-up bonus in the industry using promo code 1010XL. Make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
This is Hayden Hurst, NFL tight end. I just wanted to say how grateful I am for Dr. Lip and Active Health in Jacksonville. Wasn't sure where my career was going to go this offseason. Had a lot of issues with my back and right hip. Thought about hanging it up, but thanks to those guys, everybody at Active Health, they got me back to where I needed to be. So thankful for the Bulls Pipeline connection. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't wait to see where this year takes me out in LA.
Active Health Jacks can help you too. Give them a call today at 904-296-0202 or go online activehealthjacks.com.
Are you an experienced plumber or welder with MedGas certification and you're tired of being undervalued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC Technicians. With the best pay in the business, you'll earn $36.50 an hour. With benefits, that's almost $50. It's not just a job, it's a career that values you. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, it's Prosper here, and if you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis, express equity lines of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment till 2025. 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Order for Jennifer C. Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve? Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine? Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year? Well, I do now. Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year? Yeah, you just said that. Did you say I just said that? Yeah, I'm cutting you off. Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Proud partner of the Florida Gators. And by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Basketball is back in Duval. For your chance to win premium seats to the Gators versus USF basketball game at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena November 4th, text BALL to the 1010XL text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Sunshine Turf Friday. Right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
All right, so the last night, Thursday night football game, we saw the Vikings go down to the Rams. Obviously, Puka Nacua back and Cooper Kupp back. That makes the Rams offense a lot better. I am honestly glad the Bears did not have to face that Rams offense, but it is a not good defense, and Vikings could only put up 20 against that. But the thing I think
the Rams defense?
The Rams defense.
Okay.
Yeah. They're
Jared
one of the
Verse
bottom.
is really good, but
yeah. Jared Verse has been incredible. Honestly, Fisk has had his moments, but their secondary is one of the worst secondaries in the league. And outside of those two, they've had a lot of trying to figure it out. And so Vikings scored 20 on that, but obviously the storyline was the call at the end when it came to the safety. Yeah, and he clearly had Darnold's face mask. The problem is the safeties are reviewable calls, but face mask penalty is not a reviewable foul. So it's a weird thing. I don't understand. To me, you could have more so been like, we're reviewing the safety, not reviewing the penalty. But I don't know all of the logistics of that. So that's one of the biggest things kind of going around today when it comes to that game last night. It was, you're down 8. You would have had to drive the length of the field, score, and then also get a 2-point in a minute and a half. So I don't think it was like the end of the world and complete. If they were on like the 20 and something happened, I feel like maybe it's a different story. But now the Vikings have lost 2 in a row. They're 5-2. It's honestly interesting because we've talked about how the NFC North is this season, and it could potentially, if things go a certain way this weekend, where every team's 5-2 at the end of this weekend, depending, like obviously if the Jags beat the Packers and if the Lions lose and the Bears win, then every team in the NFC North is 5-2, which would be crazy. But one of the things that I saw from the game last night, and this is a person that we've given a lot of credit to in KOC here when it comes to the play calling and the things that he's done with Sam Darnold and with that Vikings offense. But there was some questionable moments last night, and one of the ones that stood out to me, and I saw this stat. So the Vikings, on first down after the first quarter, they had, and so this is starting actually from their 4th drive, like halfway through the second. They had 9 runs on first down, 75% runs, and only 3 passes on first down, 25%. On those runs, they gained 1.9 yards per carry and negative 0.34 EPA. And on the passes, they gained 26 yards per attempt a plus 0.6 EPA. I've said all year they're very unbalanced offensively. Their pass game is clearly better than their run game. And in a situation when you're heading into halftime and it's still a close game and you are pushing your run so heavily. We talked about it here. It was working when you did it that 17 straight times. It's clearly not when you're gaining not even 2 yards per carry and you're gaining 26 yards in the air. So I think that there's teams starting to figure out the Vikings a little bit, and this is kind of what I've been waiting for. I'm like, it has to happen. There's no way Sam Darnold is going to be able to just carry this team because they haven't been able to figure out their run consistently. And so this is kind of starting to catch up. They're still 5-2, but this is a game last night, and I know a lot of people are looking at the call, but to me, you had plenty of opportunity to score more than 20 points in this game, and you couldn't.
My bigger critique of KOC, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings after this game, is not establishing the run versus look, ultimately, to your point, Taylor, we knew Sam Darnold was going to turn into a pumpkin at some point. I think if somebody had the odds as to when he would turn back into a pumpkin and when Kyle McCord of Syracuse would turn back into a pumpkin, I don't think we had them on a collision course for last night. I don't think Sam Darnold played.
He sacked himself.
Yeah, I don't think Sam Darnold and threw 3 pick sixes. Yikes, we'll get to that at some point in today's program. I don't think Sam Darnold looked that awful last night, but to your point, he needs a multidimensional offense around him to look like a top 15 quarterback, top 10 quarterback in the National Football League, if only on the eye test and by virtue of how his team is playing. And so, for me, the bigger critique, because I do think you need to run the ball to make Sam Darnold effective, to make this offense look at the very least multidimensional. The bigger critique for me is when the Vikings were down 21-17. And I believe they were at the 25-yard line of the Los Angeles Rams. And they couldn't convert on a 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And Kevin O'Connell took the points, and he kicked the field goal. There are people in this town, including Lauren Brooks sitting next to me right now, who are always going to say, take the points. And I respect that in a shootout.
Not always. It depends on the situation.
In that situation where this game, at that juncture, or at the very least for the first quarter plus, and not so much in the second quarter, but at the beginning of the second half, it sure felt that way once again. This was a shootout. This was about possessions. I would have gone for it there if I was Kevin O'Connell because I have belief in the quarterback. I have belief in an offense that came into this game 5-1 against a quote-unquote inferior defense. I would have gone for it there. Scared money don't make money. And ultimately, does that give your quarterback confidence then if he does convert there to where he's not taking sacks for 20 yards downfield in the fourth quarter of that game?
But that's completely different than going up by 3 possessions against a team and putting them away. Like when I said Doug should have taken the points against the Patriots.
You've said it a couple of times
on
before.
Sunday. Yeah, and there are other times that I think he should take the points too because situationally, I'm not an analytics person.
Yeah.
I read the game feel and momentum, and if the Jaguars' offensive line is playing really well, okay, maybe you go for it at times, but most of the time when it's 3rd and short, 4th and short, this offensive line has proven to us last year and to start this year that they aren't able to get those yards. So that's when I say, yes, take the points, kick the field goal. But again, it is game by game, it's minute by minute and things like that.
And I think team by team, we talked about here, the 3rd down and 4th down for the Jags have been terrible. They've been really bad for the last 14, 15 games. I don't know the Vikings. I was looking real quick just to see. So their 3rd down, I'm trying to see where they are because I feel like that's part of it too. If you're a team that is better at converting 3rd downs and converting 4th downs, then maybe you feel more likely to do it. Minnesota has a 39.47 3rd down percentage rate, which obviously led them to having to be in that 4th down and kicking the field goal. But so I think that when you're looking at some of those numbers, it's game by game, it's team by team, it's situation by situation, it's what guys you have active and can play because if there are certain things and so it was a 4th and 4, they were on the 17 on that play. And I think in his head, the offense has been able to score so well in second halves the rest of the year that he was like, let's just get it. We'll be down. What at that point? What was it? Because they were down 21-20.
Yeah.
So you're down a point, and then the second half we've been able to come back. We came back on Green Bay came back on them, but they've been able to score really well on Detroit. Yeah. And so you have these moments where maybe it was just he thought like we have enough in the second half of games to be okay. Let's just get something on the board.
Right. Doug Peterson has said I wanted to give my team confidence. Yeah. You know what doesn't give them confidence? When they don't get it. Like I went for it because I wanted to give them confidence if they got it. But they don't get it a lot of the time. So isn't that really the contradictory of that? Isn't that less confidence because
when you
haven't
like
been able to get it?
20-something times inside, whatever that stat was that they kept saying where it was like...
Just keep shooting, though. Like we said, Sabrina Ionescu earlier in the week, 1 of 19. Hey, just keep shooting. It's the only way you're going to get out of it.
If you missed the interview that Jaguars Today did with Jimmy Smith earlier on their program, it was absolutely terrific. And I highly recommend going back and listening to it if you missed it. But Jimmy Smith specifically said, under Doug Peterson, this team has been a team of finesse. And he's not calling them soft. He's saying finesse.
No, it's true.
And
the Dolphins are finesse, and everyone loved them before Tua went down, and everything went to kaput.
But in the game of the NFL, to get those 3rd and shorts or 4th and shorts, what do you need? You need maulers on the offensive line, not finesse guys. And so, I totally agreed with Jimmy. All right, we've got lunch for 2 right now on the house.
Yeah, lunch the ladies, lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4.
Should we double it up and do lunch for 4?
Oh, yeah, let's do 4. Oh, yeah, I forgot it's Friday. So, woo, Friday. Lunch for 4. So you could take the whole family and get lunch at Chick-fil-A today. Give us a call, 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4.
All right, we'll make our picks next, but our money where our mouth is. It is 1010XL 92.5 FM, Helmets and Heels, Sunshine Turf Friday.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to hear another word about inflation. Am I right? I want to fight inflation, and thanks to my friends at Arlington Toyota, now I can. Mia here, and that's right, the inflation fighter is back and saving you thousands at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Think you have to put thousands down? Think again. Right now at Arlington Toyota, just $500 down and $288 per month gets you a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $500 down and $388 per month. Take that, inflation. But my friends at Arlington aren't done yet because you also get no payments till January 2025. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles. You even get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. It's time to fight inflation at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet, and we're knee-deep in football season. If you haven't tried Hard Rock Bet yet, it's time. And if you don't win your first bet, you get up to $100 back for a second chance, paid as a bonus bet. HardRock.bet has it all, everything in the game. Bet on TDs, passing yards, total points, who wins, and so much more. College football, too, with big-time conference play heating up. It's all at HardRock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
Big Sur's here. My cigars are back in stock at Island Girl Gate Parkway. Buy a box and I will autograph it for you. Island Girl Gate Parkway is the place to enjoy a great cigar selection, a full bar, enjoy a daily happy hour from noon to 7 and all day Sunday. Enjoy college and NFL games from noon to 6. When you buy 5 cigars, you get 1 free. Plus, live music Friday and Saturday nights. For upcoming events, follow Island Girl Gay Parkway on Instagram and Facebook at islandgirl.gateparkway.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 25th, 2003, the Miami Marlins beat the New York Yankees in Game 6 of the World Series. For the Marlins' second title, Miami pitcher Josh Beckett was awarded MVP.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
If you're getting married or want to upgrade your bands, now is the time at Beard's Diamonds.
Because it's Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Your car is like part of your family. It takes you to work, drops the kids off at school, goes with you on vacation. You feel safe in your car, but all that can change in an instant due to someone else's carelessness. Now you need money for medical bills, car repairs, lost wages. You need help, and you need it now. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Jacksonville.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner, and home to Xerox and HP copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Go ABSinc.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Sunday's Jaguars-Packers game marks the annual NFL Crucial Catch Game, a partnership between the American Cancer Society and all 32 NFL teams to raise awareness, to provide resources for cancer detection, and to honor cancer patients, survivors, and loved ones. 37 childhood cancer patients and their families from the Tom Coughlin J Fund will be recognized in the South End Zone. 2 J Fund patients will participate in the coin toss and deliver the first Duval. Kickoff of Jags-Packers is Sunday at 1. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we'll chat college football with Taylor Tannebaum of the ACC Network. And then at 1:20, we'll get it back to the Jaguars and talk to Peter Bukowski, co-founder of The Leap and host of Locked On Packers, and talk all things Packers Jaguars. But right now, we got to make our picks. I will give you the latest when it comes to the standings. There has been a little bit of a shakeup here. Mia right now leads. The birthday girl leads with 24 points. I come in second. I was last there for quite some time. I come in second at 23 points, and Taylor's just right behind at 22 points. So it's not like there's much separation. We are all very close together. We will kick things off with Taylor's team. Notre Dame is by the way, full disclosure, like I told y'all earlier in the week, not a great slate of college football games as far as picking. But we will kick things off with Notre Dame at Navy. Well, it's not at Navy. It's Notre Dame versus Navy at MetLife Stadium, which I think will be a fantastic environment. Notre Dame, Taylor Dahl, is a 14-point favorite over the Midshipmen. Who you got?
Yeah, I think Irish win, but I don't think it's by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I just think that historically, Navy already gave us a hard time, and this year Navy actually is playing some pretty good football. So I'm going to say Navy for this spread.
Mia?
Logic would suggest, because this isn't your grandmother's Navy, they don't run the ball quite as much as their predecessors. And so I want to say, well, value the possession, run the ball, play great defense. Therefore, Navy is able to cover the spread even if they don't win the game outright. But this is a Navy team that's not afraid to throw the ball downfield, which is where I'm
like, what?
I'm wondering if Vegas knows something we don't. And then again, I took Syracuse +6 last night. And as mentioned earlier, Kyle McCord threw 4 picks. And 3 of them were pick sixes. So that's why I'm wondering if I should. But Taylor Dahl, you're not that confident in that Notre Dame defense to begin with.
Well, I love the defense, but they just lost both of their corners recently, and so they're on very young. I think both freshman corners have been having to play, so I think that affects it. I think that against the run, they've been really good. They're good at forcing turnovers in certain areas, but again, you just lost your 2 starting corners.
Yeah, give me the midshipmen at the very least to cover.
All right, well, since you're both going that way, I'll go the other way just for fun. I think Notre Dame is a team that has heard all week long that Navy's undefeated, and Navy's coming for them. And, even though with the young secondary, I like Notre Dame to cover. All right, let's get it to Alabama and the 17-point favorites that the Crimson Tide are over Eli Drinkwitz and the Missouri Tigers. Mia?
Logic once again suggests that things are not exactly idealistic in Tuscaloosa right now. Let's call it that. Which means that
in Missouri.
which means, that as much as Brady Cook, it does look like, at least from what I can see, it looks like he may play. Question mark? I'm taking Alabama. I just think this has to be their get-right game.
Yeah.
Taylor?
Yeah, I'm going Alabama. I think Alabama wins by like 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, especially if there's no Brady Cook.
Yeah.
Or if banged up Brady Cook at that, because their run game has been non-existent. Who would have thought that Schroeder last year was the cure-all and was the reason that Eli Drinkwitz went to a New Year's Six Bowl?
I will remind the listeners that last week against Tennessee, all 3 of us took Alabama, and we obviously lost that one. So I will take Missouri. I don't think Missouri wins the football game whatsoever, but I do think that they're a talented enough football team to give Alabama a run for the money. All right, LSU at Texas A&M, clearly the best game on the schedule and clearly the hardest game to pick.
Come on now, the Canes and the Knoll. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are definitely kidding. LSU is a 1-point underdog to Texas A&M. It started the week with LSU being a favorite, and then it switched to A&M. So certainly Vegas thinks they know something. I will take the home team in Texas A&M. Mia?
No, isn't it? It's at A&M? I thought it was at LSU.
I think it's at A&M.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm checking that because I'm pretty sure it's in Death Valley.
Oh, that definitely. Oh, it says at A&M.
It's at A&M? Okay.
You questioning me?
Yeah, I am, because I thought it was at LSU, and I was going to take the Tigers, and now that I know it's in College Station, I feel differently about my pick. I don't know how good A&M is. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm going to take them, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, this one is one where you're really picking who's winning the game.
I'm picking the home team. Like, quite frankly, like I'm at a point where I'm just picking the home team. If this game was in Baton Rouge, you bet your bottom dollar I am banging the table for the home dog. But since it's in College Station, I'll take A&M.
I'm going to go LSU. And
I know.
I
On
know.
Brian Kelly's birthday, you got his back.
I know. I've bashed LSU and Brian Kelly all season, and I feel like both times I've bet against them, I've lost. And I think that the defense has shown there's moments of them getting better. Garrett Nussmeier, as soon as you think he's counted out, he comes back and does something. He has thrown for over 300 yards in 5 games and leads the SEC with 18 touchdowns. I just think that this offense for LSU is going to show up big this weekend.
Yeah, who am I kidding? I'm taking LSU. Let me switch my pick. It's once again, last week, well, what was our conversation last week?
I just had to say Garrett Nussmeier, and you're like, oh, yes.
Right, because what was the conversation last week with LSU Ole Miss? I said, ultimately, this comes down to the quarterback position. Yep. And while certainly Connor Weigman has looked better, Garrett Nussmeier is the better quarterback right now. And are there questions about the LSU defense? For certain, but if this game goes to a shootout, I like LSU's chances way more so than the Aggies.
All right, we will switch it to the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, minus Mike Evans, minus Chris Godwin, will play host to the Atlanta Falcons. The Bucs started as favorites, and then, of course, the injuries after Monday night. It switched over to the Falcons. Taylor, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I actually think I'm still going to go with the Bucs. I think that they'll come out firing this week. I think they'll be able to run the ball very well, and I think that Baker will just make it work. I think it'll fizzle out. I think we're going to see this Bucs team start getting hurt in the few weeks after, but I do think it's one of the weeks where they'll come out just firing on because they're like, okay, we just lost Chris Godwin in this tragic way at the end of the game, and then obviously Mike Evans. But I do think that there's other guys there that can get Baker through this game at least, so I'm going to say the Bucs.
It also helps that they've actually been able to run the ball.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Their run game honestly has been pretty good.
The only thing that gives me pause is that the Falcons inexplicably lost last week at home to the Seahawks in a game that kind of like breaks the logic in your brain outside of
the NFL does.
Yeah, outside of the fact that Seattle was on a 4-game losing streak and
their defense was struggling bad.
Yeah, something had to give at some point. Yeah. I also don't want to take the same team as Taylor Dahl, which I have done now for 3 of our 6 games, so I will take the Falcons.
Just a reminder, on October 3rd, the Falcons beat the Buccaneers in overtime, 36-30.
Yeah.
So these two teams certainly know each other very well. They're obviously in the same division, and they play each other really well as well. I'm going to take the Falcons just because I do think Mike Evans is one of the best receivers in all of the land, and without him, I do think Baker will struggle a little bit. All right, now we head to Washington, D.C., where no one's sure if Jaden Daniels is going to play. Dan Quinn did say earlier today that he did practice, even though nobody saw him practicing as far as the media is concerned. But the Commanders play host to the Bears. Bears are 2.5-point favorites. Mia.
Marcus Mariota's back, baby. Commanders plus 2.5.
Taylor.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Bears. I would have picked the
Bears.
Bears.
That was a very solid answer.
I was going to pick the Bears even if Jaden was playing or even if Jaden does play. I just think the Commanders, I think it's the defenses more so that have this. I think that both offenses would have played really well, but I think the Bears defense is 10 times better than Washington's defense. So it'll come down to that, I think.
Yeah, for me, I would 100% take the Commanders if I knew Jaden Daniels was playing. At this point in time, I don't know, and that certainly does give me pause. But I put them in the playoffs, so I'm going to take the Commanders. All right, and again, they don't have to necessarily win. They just have to cover the 2.5-point spread. We get it to the hometown team, your Jacksonville Jaguars playing host to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are a 4-point spread. You already know which way I'm going to go, and that is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do think Trevor Lawrence has been playing super well, and I understand the Packers have all those takeaways, and the Jaguars don't have a ton of takeaways. That's certainly something
hardly any.
Right, that has really hurt this team to this point in the season with just 3 of those. The Packers have 17. But somehow, some way, I think they find a way with their backs against the wall. And like we talked about to start the program, the Packers have the Lions. They might be peeking ahead a little bit. Mia.
I took the Colts when the Jaguars beat them in Week 5. I took the Patriots when the Jaguars beat them in Week 7. Give me Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Packers, too. I haven't seen a moment where the Jags have proved to me when their back's against the wall, they can come back and persevere through that, honestly. I hope with all my heart, body, soul, mind, everything that I come in here on Monday and I'm screaming Green Bay sucks. I really, truly hope I do, but I have to go Green Bay.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a gut feeling about certain games, and I just have this crazy, wild feeling that the Jaguars are going to come out and look really good, unlike they did against the Browns to start the season. And I don't think they'll collapse like they did to play or when they beat the Colts here in Jacksonville. I think also, Mia, it's from watching people who have gone in the locker room this week. This team seems to be spirited, and I understand they spent the time away, so that was helpful. They got one win over in London. It wasn't against a great team, but it's still a victory. You'll take all victories in the NFL. So I think it's the vibes from the locker room that I'm feeling from afar as well.
Yes, certainly the vibes have been good. I've left the stadium each of the last 2 days with a sunny disposition that went beyond the wonderful weather we've been having this week, and so I would echo that sentiment. Ultimately, though, I go back to what Taylor started the program with, which is I believe this team's going to be able to score on Green Bay. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Green Bay. And that is not by virtue of not having talented players. I think it's quite simply by virtue of how many weapons Jordan Love has at his disposal and how Matt Fleur wants to attack you that day. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Jaguars linebacking core, even with Foye Oluokun back, I'm not sure if they're in a base 4-3. If it's Devin Lloyd out there, if it's Chad Muma out there, I can tell you this, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are going to be scheming it up and targeting one of those 2 players, whichever is on the field. And or if they're in a dime package, if Antonio Johnson's on the field, or Jarian Jones, a rookie, matchup of the year for him, going up against Jaden Reed. you bet your bottom dollar they're going to find ways to get Reed in motion pre-snap to confuse the rookie.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be one of those games where if the Jags pull it off, it's that everything possibly went right for the Jags and the Packers had everything go wrong. Like, that's the type of game it would have to be.
Which certainly, we talked about it as far as Jordan Love and the 8 interceptions. Again, he didn't play in 2 games this season, so he certainly could have the most interceptions in all of the NFL. But he also has the 15 touchdowns. Yeah. I'm well aware of that. But he's a quarterback that this week has obviously been asked about turning the ball over. And I do think that can get in quarterbacks' heads. I think that happened with Trevor Lawrence for a while when he had the fumbles and the interceptions, that total turnover stat that we all know that he was leading the NFL through 3 seasons. I think that can get in the quarterback's head a lot because you are being asked about it, because you're constantly watching film, and then you get a little bit tight, or you don't throw the ball that you originally would have because it's into traffic and things like that. Mm-hmm. You're not playing loose, free football. And that's the one thing, if Jordan Love can come in here and throw a couple interceptions, finally the Jaguars get a couple of those, that would be good news.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also am hoping this could be like an Eric Armstead breakout Jags game, because Eric Armstead's very familiar with Green Bay, and the 49ers crushed Green Bay after year after year after year. So he's really good at, honestly, going against that Matt LaFleur offense and getting around some of those offensive linemen. So hopefully some of those things, that experience again between these two, him and then the Packers offense will play into this. I would love it. I would love to see, and I said it at the beginning, that's the first thing I said Monday, is pressure Jordan Love. That's what you have to do in this game.
As we mentioned, too, arguably the 2 best offensive linemen for the Green Bay Packers are banged up. One of those is Josh Myers on the interior. I think, to your point, Taylor, Eric Armstead is going to have to rush from the interior, where last week he was the league leader in pressures generated from the interior.
Go figure.
I respect the fact that he wants to play end, but I also would like to, win the lottery, and that doesn't necessarily happen for me. I don't know. Like, I would like to, be gifted a pizza here on my birthday here on Helmets and Heels. And, like, that may not happen, but I'm still going to do my job because I'm going to do what's best for me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's kind of where we're at. And it's not to say that he's not doing what's best for the team. I think he is. But I also don't want the Jags to overthink this. Like, if he is helping you generate pressure from the interior, more than that, the combination of Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton is affording Devon Hamilton the opportunity to have his best game of the season last week, to look like the Devon of old. You have to afford him that opportunity, and also in turn, you benefit from Armstead lining up and rushing over a guard.
You shouldn't be 2-5 and still figuring things out. You should have already figured out where your best players play. Quickly about the World Series, RJ on Monday got us an interview with Clay Hensley, so that's exciting, former Major League Baseball pitcher and also World Series champion. So we'll break down the first 2 games in Los Angeles. But I just wanted to mention this for people who don't follow baseball that closely. Tonight's starting pitchers, Garrett Cole against Jack Flaherty. Flaherty was almost traded to the Yankees before the trade deadline. That's what's wild tonight. Like, he literally could have been lining
Not
up
there.
Right, and pitching for the Yankees. He probably wouldn't have been starting because Garrett Cole obviously is the ace. But I just found that story absolutely fascinating.
It's also impressive that for arguably the best team in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, for a rookie to be the choice for game 1 of the World Series. I mean, that speaks a lot about Flaherty and what he's been able to do this year, even if it's been up and down at times. Leon and I were lamenting it on Tuesday, the fact that, look, I understand the Yankees clinched a berth in the World Series on Saturday. The Mets clinched it on Sunday. I respect the television and broadcast time, or the Dodgers, excuse me. I respect the broadcast times. I understand that it was predetermined that the World Series would start on a Friday in case both the ALCS and the NLCS went to a Game 7. But both these teams have now had 5 days rest. I think that's the X factor in this game, because do you see rust? Or do you see a replenished bullpen in the case of the New York Yankees, who were pulling their starters against the Cleveland Guardians in the ALCS after the 4th, 5th inning? And I don't understand the logic of Aaron Boone saying, well, you don't want the starter to go through the lineup 3 times because now, they know what he's going to do. And I'm like, well, then what's the point of Tommy Canley going out there and pitching 4 times in 1 week? They've already seen him because he's going an inning every time he's out there. It's not like he's a lefty specialist or something like that. So now they know what he has. And even if they didn't go against him personally, they have him on tape against their teammates. And so I just don't understand this move to
logic behind
we
it.
got to go right to the bullpen. We got to go right to the bullpen. Because guess what? If you're getting quality innings out of your starter, ride him. You don't know what's going to happen in the next game. And so I would like to think the Yankees bullpen has rested over the last 4 or 5 days, and that will help them and give them some sort of advantage that they may not have had if the World Series had started earlier this week. But at the same time, I want to see that bullpen. If Garrett Cole has a good start, I would like to see them afforded the opportunity to once again rest.
8:08 first pitch tonight. And oh, by the way, if, in case you're not really into baseball, more football, at 10:30 tonight, you have Boise State at UNLV. Both teams
Ashton
with only
Genty.
one loss. And
By the
Ashton
way,
Genty.
I know we have to hit break. Did you see the clip of him yesterday that people started surfacing when they were asking like what team he may want to play for in the NFL?
I did not. I did read Matt Hayes' article in USA Today Sports, which is just phenomenal.
I haven't read. I still need to go back and read that. But somebody had asked him if he would like to play for the Bears, and so obviously this started circulating around the Bears Twitter. And he was like, but his reasonings were, number one, he said they already have a starting running back in DeAndre Swift, which was a little weird to me because I was like, does that mean you're scared to compete against another running back? Like, you're going to be a rookie. You're probably going to come in and have another back that you're going to have to go against. Also, DeAndre Swift is not like the long-term answer for the Bears, but I don't know how much he knows about any of that situation. But then he goes, it's also too cold. And I was like, doesn't Boise get pretty dang cold? I was a little confused.
Maybe he doesn't like the cold. But
Yeah,
again,
he's like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I hope he gets sent to Cleveland at this point.
That's the great part about Matt's article is it details how he ended up at Boise State and why. All right, Taylor Tannebaum, when we return, joins us, reporter on ACC Network. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. Call them at 904-383-0243 or find them online at sunshineturf.info. It's always a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clogged drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all. And they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
This crowd is electric.
The difference between stepping up and stepping aside can be as simple as being stepped on.
And he is slow to get up.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL.
Jacksonville.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, shaking things up a bit. Let's see what Carlo has to say.
The biggest thing that I received out of this Awaken 180 program was that I was able to get a best friend. And when I say that, I mean the person that I look to in the mirror every morning. I would walk by the mirror and not look. Now, the Awaken 180 program has given me the ability to look in the mirror, smile, and actually enjoy and appreciate the person I am. I went from, 301 down to 213. I've lost 84 pounds with Awaken 180.
84 pounds, and Carlo did it in under 4 months. Those, my friends, are the results you'll get with Awaken 180. Do what Carlo did, I did, Mike Dempsey, and hundreds of others in Jacksonville have done. Get back to liking the person you see in the mirror and choose Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Mia here, and I bet you are feeling good this week because we have been killing it betting with MyBookie, turning spreads, over-unders, and prop bets into straight cash only. Huge local game on Saturday night as the Florida State Seminoles are 21-point underdogs playing the undefeated Hurricanes in Coral Gables. And all day Sunday, you can get in on the action. Meanwhile, in the NFL, the Packers travel to Jacksonville where they are 4-point favorites. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-point home dogs to the Buffalo Bills with a 47-point over-under total. That's a pretty high number with key players potentially injured, and the under has been crushing it this year, so take advantage. The most bet-on game of the day each and every week is Sunday Night Football. Yes, it's the Cowboys once again in prime time, taking on the 49ers. I'd look hard at the under here, too. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money using promo code 1010XL. That's promo code 1010XL to make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jacksonville, are you ready? The college basketball season is tipping off with an epic in-state showdown. The Florida Gators and South Florida Bulls go head-to-head in the Jacksonville Sports Foundation Invitational. Be there Monday, November 4th at Veterans Memorial Arena and witness this in-state rivalry live. Secure your seats now at Ticketmaster.com. It's Florida versus South Florida to start the college basketball season on November 4th in Jacksonville. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. High school football is back tonight in Duval when the Bulldogs look to continue their reign as they travel to Wolfson to face the Wolfpack. The Bulldogs have rushed for at least 177 yards in 3 consecutive matchups and hopes to continue that streak tonight. The Wolfpack are attempting to bounce back after their 4th straight defeat last Monday. Kickoff tonight at 6:30. The Bishop Kenny Crusaders, who stay on the road tonight with 2 back-to-back wins under their belts, travel to Westside to take on the Wolverines. They'll take the field at 6:30. You can catch both games live on 92.5 FM and 1010 AM. Down in Orlando for their first home game of the season, the Magic take on the Brooklyn Nets with a quick turnover tomorrow when they travel to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. You can hear that game live on 1010 AM, tip-off at 8. It's 83 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Sunshine Turf Friday. We will get it to college football now as Taylor Tannebaum joins us, host and reporter on the ACC Network and ESPN. Taylor, thanks so much for hopping on with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
We are fantastic, thanks. Talking all things football on this Football Friday. So let's start with the team somewhat near here that is undefeated. That would be the Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, we've called them the Cardiac Canes. They have had 3 incredibly close games the last 3 weeks. But what do you make of Cam Ward and Mario Cristobal's group?
I think this group is different. Like, I know every year we have that conversation, like, is Miami back? And then it feels like they are, and then they do something where we realize they're not quite there yet. This year feels different. The team just has a different sense of motivation, a different sense of being. And I say that in the sense that, like, they're very unselfish. They understand the task at hand. They're playing for something more than just like themselves. I think they've really bought into the culture and what the U is all about, which I think is something that kind of fell off over the last several years, what it means to play at Miami and the history of the program. And a lot of that starts with Cam Ward coming in as a transfer and demanding respect immediately, his teammates buying in immediately. And that's a credit to him for being the kind of guy that he is, the kind of leader that he is. He leads by example. He doesn't have to say a ton. Like, if you watch Cam Ward, I know everyone talks about, like, how when he plays, he's kind of lax and chill. That's how he is personality-wise, too. So he leads by example, and people follow, and rightfully so. I mean, you see what he's doing. He's worked his way to the top of draft boards at this point of the season, no doubt. So I think this team is legit. They're for real. Cam Ward is special. Many people would say generational, right, using that word. I do think defensively they have to shore up a couple of things if they want to continue down this path to ultimately winning a championship. But right now in the ACC, no question that they're the standard.
Hey, Taylor, Mia O'Brien here. Thanks so much again for joining us. Not to pour salt in the wound, but of course, Miami's opponent tomorrow is your alma mater, Florida State. Yeah. As not only a Knowles alum, but as someone who covers this conference and college football at large, how do you reconcile with what has occurred in Tallahassee? Because there's certainly an argument to be made, Taylor, that this is the way college football is headed. You build teams, you don't build programs, and this is a one-off. And for all we know, Mike Norvell could reload the next year. But I'm sure for you, it's also this sense of, my goodness, are we going down that road once again?
Right. So, you know the saying, acceptance is peace? Like, that's kind of where I am right now for this season. It's just like, acceptance is peace. It is what it is right now. But you're right. That is the delicate balance of the transfer portal, like bringing in guys who are obviously right for your culture and your fit, and also making sure, you know, even when they're gone, there's longevity within your program. They lost a ton of leadership last year, and I think that maybe we underestimated just how much. And sometimes you put a team together that can be all the talented players in the world, but if they don't work together as a team, like, this is the ultimate team game, right? Football, then it's just not going to translate on the field. And it just feels like, as talented as each individual can be on this team, and they found guys in the portal who are highly coveted, they don't work well together. And that's like what I can simply say at this point. Like, I've reached the point where I don't even really have words to describe it, because it's not just like the O-line got better, this would be a better team. Like, it is truly everywhere. I'll give credit to the defense and Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator. I think that they've gotten better throughout the season, but there is only so much they can do. And your offense is quite literally averaging 15 points per game. 15 points per game. They have not scored over 22 points in a single game this season. So I would just say, you hope that this is the anomaly in the Mike Norvell era, and that after this season, there's going to have to be some changes that are made, and they go back to the drawing board and maybe reapproach. But if it's not, then there's some real thinking to do here, because, you know, we know what it was like under Willie Taggart a couple of years ago, and it can't go back there, because this is a program that should be able to sustain, and for the ACC's sake, and college football really has to sustain, because they're such a big brand. So you hope that this is the anomaly, but I don't see where it gets better this season offensively. I really don't.
Hi, Taylor. Taylor here. I know.
Hey, Taylor.
Hello. Continuing on the Knowles side of the ball, because I think one of the conversations moving forward, even though it does feel like it's kind of a lost season right now, that quarterback conversation is there, because you saw a young kid in Luke Cromenhoek come in. What is your thoughts on that? Do they ride with him for the rest of the season?
It's a great question, and that too is a delicate balance. And if you talk to E.J. Manuel, who obviously played quarterback at Florida State, and you know, he was once a young guy who got thrown into the fire. It's that delicate balance of not putting someone who's young out and making him susceptible to things that, he can't get back. And then you kind of hurt his confidence and you hurt some things that could potentially be better in the future for him. But also, you're looking at the future of your program, and it is trial by fire, right? Like, that when you're a quarterback, that everyone's looking at you. All eyes are on you, and you're the one with the ship floats with you and the ship sinks with you. So I would argue that they go with Brock Glenn right now, just because, first of all, Miami is this weekend. And if they're going to hang their hat on anything this season, you got the Miami game and you got the Gators, right? So those are two things that if this season is lost, at least if you can maybe pick up a win in those two, you at least have something to build on next year. Your morale won't be so low, right? That's something. So in my opinion, you go with Brock Glenn because he's still a young guy. Like, don't forget, Brock Glenn is still only has a handful of starts under his belt himself. So that's a guy who could be competing for the starting quarterback job of the future at Florida State, too. So they may try to figure out ways to get both of them playing time just so they can have that on their resumes. But I would lean that Mike Norvell is going to lean Brock Glenn because there's still opportunity morale-wise and future looking ahead-wise that they can pick up a couple of wins that would go a long way for the program.
Taylor, we'll have to have you on in late November because I'm a graduate of the University of Florida. Obviously, you're a graduate of Florida State, and that game could have some interesting implications.
It could be on Tubi, too, or perhaps just live streamed on some other, Reddit channel, right?
Florida could,
serious at this point, yes.
Florida could win some big games between now and then. I don't know about FSU. All right, Taylor, I cannot believe I'm about to say this. We have the biggest game in the ACC this weekend is SMU at Duke.
Look at that. That's our 8 p.m. kickoff prime time here. Look, it's two teams. Credit where credit is due. 6-1 on the season, right? Regardless of who they've played, it's hard to win, and we've seen that in college football this year. I know you guys have talked about it. There's a lot of parity, not just in this conference, but the SEC is going to enter the month of November without an undefeated team for the first time since 2015 or something crazy, some crazy statistic where it's been a long time. So it's really everyone's kind of suffering from this parity across the board. But SMU, high-flying offense, 40-plus points a game. They have a dual-threat quarterback in Kevin Jennings against a Duke defense that's one of the top two in the league. So you're going to have good on good in that aspect. My question is, can Duke score enough to keep up with SMU? Because SMU is going to get theirs at some point, as good as Duke's defense is. Can Duke offensively score enough? They had 180 total yards of offense in their win last week, Duke did. So it's going to have to be better than that. You can't solely rely on your defense. But I think we could potentially have a good one in Durham, and the winner of that improves to 7-1, and then both of them are staring down the barrel next week. SMU hosts Pitt, who's ranked and undefeated, and Duke goes down to Miami, who's sitting there undefeated and ranked right now. So this could have big implications, big picture for ACC championship in December.
Taylor Tannebaum of the ACC Network is our guest on the Garber Auto Mall Hotline, and I am glad you brought up the Pitt Panthers. Self-admittedly, on my MyBookie midweek picks, Taylor, I did take Syracuse +6. I think you could make the argument that if Duke SMU is the best game in the conference this weekend, you could make the argument that Pitt-Syracuse on paper coming into the weekend was the second best game, and we know what happened. Do you think Kyle McCord is regressing, or is Pitt for real?
Both. Well, no, not both. Pitt is for real. I want to start there. They're undefeated for a reason. They've had multiple comeback wins, and keep in mind their quarterback, Eli Holstein, has just 7 starts under his belt, and it was this week on Thursday night against Syracuse. So he's still a young pup. But what they've been able to do offensively with a new OC and Cade Bell has been outstanding. And that defense is the defense that we're used to seeing at Pitt. And if they have both units clicking, and their special teams is legit. Their kicker, Ben Sauls, is perfect on the year. He kicked a career-long 58-yarder. They don't really have worries when it comes to the special teams unit, which is awesome. They're real. On the Kyle McCord side of things, I don't think he's regressing. Look, he did come into the night leading the ACC with 6 interceptions. So you can't say that you've never seen him do it before. But sometimes we all do. All of us ladies do have a bad day. A bad day at the office. His just so happened to be on national television in front of everybody to see. It was the worst day he could have had. And I would like to think that, too, was an anomaly. That too, 5 interceptions, 3 pick sixes in one half. Like, that doesn't happen. And a couple of them, 3 of the picks were tipped balls. So, it's a team sport. So I think he'll bounce back and be okay. Still threw for 300 yards and has every single game this season. So I think he's okay. But last night is one that he would like to have back because I think that was just genuinely the worst game of his career.
Taylor, final one before we let you go. I want to talk a little about Clemson because I think that Clemson's defense is something that I think most people expected to be really good this season. The offense in Cade Klubnik, I think, has surprised some people. Are you surprised at how they've looked so far, especially recently?
You know what? I can't say I'm surprised. I was hopeful coming into the season. It validated what you had hoped you would see because it was year 2 coming in under Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, who's still very young and getting his feet wet at Clemson. Year 2 as a starter for Cade Klubnik. Last year, their wide receivers were decimated by injury. So coming in, you hope that the OC and the QB heading into year 2, especially together, would make a significant jump. A healthy receiver room would aid in that. And Phil Massa really coming into his own and being that lead back, no more Will Shipley there, and he's a dog himself, and an offensive line now coached by Matt Luke, who Dabo Swinney, who doesn't make a ton of coaching changes, brought him in for a reason to lift up that O-line this year. You would have hoped that this is what you would see, and we are getting it. There's something to be said in an instant gratification society about growth and about patience and about watching someone evolve into who they are. And some young quarterbacks are quicker than others, right? And that's okay, but not everybody is on the same timeline. I've learned that in this business, right? Everyone's journey is their own.
Amen to that.
And I think that's what you're seeing in Cade Klubnik and this offense. And it's not just Cade, it's not just Garrett, but it's the receivers playing better, it's the O-line playing better, so everybody together can excel. So I was hopeful this is what we would see, and it has translated. It could have gone the other direction, guys. Like, it really could have, but this is what you would hope in the evolution of an offense and relationships, that this is what you would get on the field.
At Taylor Tannebaum on X, and by the way, first time no undefeated SEC team heading into November since 2007.
7. Oh gosh, yeah.
It's been a minute.
Tells you everything you need to know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. Guess who was the Alabama coach starting in 2007? That would have been Nick Saban.
Yeah.
There's a reason
there
for that.
There you go.
All right, Taylor, we really appreciate your time. We certainly hope you'll join us in the future.
Thank you guys so much. I'd love to anytime. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thanks. Same to you. By the way, next Saturday, we don't have a time for it yet, but Louisville at Clemson. I'm glad you asked about them. Yeah, that could be a really good game. All right, when we return, we'll get it back to the Jags. We'll talk Packers-Jags with Peter Bukowski on Locked On Packers. That is next on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Together, one play at a time.
It's the moment the game changed.
Up in the air, it is caught!
Listen for the performance painting high performance play of the game.
Are you kidding me?
On 1010XL. Performance painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Lauren Brooks here. Now at Hodges Mazda, get 2.9% APR for 72 months on the 2024 Mazda CX-90, Mazda's largest and most luxurious SUV. Or drive home a 2023 Mazda CX-30 2.5S Preferred for as low as $26,999. This compact SUV is designed for both city driving and weekend getaways. Discover the Hodges Mazda difference with the non-commissioned sales team who are always focused on your best interests. Plus, enjoy 2 years of free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires October 31st, 2024.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question, folks. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Hold up, let me say that again. 2.99% year one rate. Wow. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. Dream Finders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Pre-Game Friday is brought to you by MyBookie
and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
This is Jerry Holland, Duval County Supervisor of Elections. If you're like me, there never seems to be enough hours in the day. You seem to be on the go from sunup to sundown, which is why I vote early. Listen, this ballot is very long. I'm talking at least 2 pages, and that's why I need the flexibility of early voting. I can choose the location that works for me and my schedule. You can cast your ballot at any of our 24 early voting sites. Visit NorthFloridaVotes.com.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners, do you need bathroom partitions and accessories? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. Coyle & Sons will design it for you. Call them today at 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Barry for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
57% of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida alumni say the club saved their lives. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida support over 5,000 local youths each day. Help support this work and have some fun at the same time. Join us at the Beaches Barbecue Bash, Monday, October 28th at ABBQ Atlantic Beach for barbecue, great beverages, live music, and an auction to positively impact our youth each day. Learn more at bgcnf.org/events.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
We are efforting for Peter Bukowski.
Dang Packers.
I mean, right?
I got to tell you, though, ladies, I just went in the break room to brew up some little afternoon coffee and a water. And
because afternoon coffee is totally normal.
Well, I haven't had a cup of coffee
yet. I drink night
coffee.
So.
Yeah, I haven't had a
With
cup
caffeine?
of coffee yet today. I know that's going to shock some of you on a Feel Good Friday that I haven't had any caffeine yet today. I went to go for a run. But the vibes are good around the building. And not just, hey, Jags are going to win. Like,
our building.
Yes. Like, I have now had multiple people come up to me and say, oh, yeah, like, I think this is the week that they shock the world. Like, if there is one upset in the next 5, which we heard Leon Searcy tell us during the handoff with XL Primetime earlier this week, that he believes they have to be 5-7 after the Texans come here the week after the bye.
Yeah.
If they're at 5-7, they're there. In his estimation, they could make a late season run. But if you're 5-7 at that point, that means you're winning 3 of your next 5. Where are you finding those 3 wins in the next 5?
Don't you think if the Jaguars can beat the Packers, that the Jaguars can beat the Vikings? Like, I don't think the team that we saw the first 5 weeks of the season is now this team that's unbeatable.
Yeah, I think the Packers are better than the Vikings. So I do. I think that's something definitely. And that's what I want to find. Clearly, I am the biggest fan of this weekend, like double fan of the Jags winning this game, believe me. And I think that, like I said, I do think that if you're seeing end of 2022 Jags of how everybody was playing and how Trevor was playing and how everything was kind of meshing during that time. And I honestly think the roster is better than that end of the 2022 roster.
And remember, Press Taylor was calling the plays in the second halves of those games.
So I do think if that Jags team shows up, then it does give the Green Bay Packers a test. I haven't seen that. It's been a really long time since I've seen that team, and that's where my concerns come in. But I do think that when you're looking at it's a very honestly important game for the Packers because that division race is so tight. The Vikings just lose last night. This is that shot to kind of get that game up on them at this point. And the Lions, they still have to play this weekend too, so you'll see how that goes. But the Packers have to win everything right now, and I think that it would be easy for them to come into this and be like, we've no problem, like, got this game. But then I think they are kind of evaluating that a little more, like, hold on, let's pump the brakes a little bit. When Trevor Lawrence is on, and when Brian Thomas Jr. is going and when Tank's going, this offense can do some really good things. So I think that they are more looking at that side of the ball. I think they do see the defense as being something they can take advantage of as a team. But we
haven't seen Foye Oluokun play with Ventrell Miller, and that's what it seems like we're going to. So, like, yes, what they have evaluated on film hasn't been a good defense. I'm not going to argue that. But it also could be a different look defense.
Yeah,
we know it'll look differently because there's so much rotation.
Well, and I do think that, but I think also a lot of times people think of certain people, like when you haven't practiced or played with the team either, like which Foye, how quickly are we going to see the true Foye out there, and how much is he out there right away, just coming off of this injury? So we will see. That's something that I think is going to be interesting, and I think that combination of Ventrell and him do add an extra element. So I do think that is something that obviously they can't game plan because they haven't seen those two.
But you guys think it will be those two as you're starting off ball linebackers. You buy the first part of Doug Peterson's answer when he was asked about could we see a world of those two starting on Sunday together, as opposed to
I never know who Ryan Nielsen is starting.
Right, but the eye test says that those are the two you should see. Foye's led the league in tackles for multiple seasons, and Ventrell Miller is now a guy, we talked about it to start the show on Monday. He's a guy that's now hyping up the team before the Patriots game. Like, even though he's in his second year and he didn't play at all last year, he's the guy bringing the juice and the energy. Like, to me, there's not another player on that field that for the Jags defense that has been as hard hitting as Ventrell, that has been everywhere on the field.
Statistically, it's true too. Our friend Daniel Griffiths, our stats and info department, if you may, here on Helmets and Heels, has it down.
Does he get paid for that?
I know. We probably do need to at least send him a pizza since we're talking about pizza on this Feel Good Friday. According to PFF and our friend Daniel Griffiths, Ventrell Miller's run stop percentage of 14.9% ranks second among all defensive players. He wasn't the starter until week 4 of the season.
Right. There's been some interesting evaluations, I'll use that adjective, of some of the Jags players and the positions that they've played in. We've talked about that a lot. The Eagles game is before the Vikings game on the schedule. If the Jaguars beat the Packers, the Eagles aren't a team that I'm terrified of. I'm obviously afraid of Saquon Barkley and can you stop the run, but certainly we'll get a good test against Josh Jacobs on Sunday as well.
So Hef on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line on YouTube says
I picture Hef with like a pipe when he listens to the show.
Hef, if you want to show your face, I think you could drop a photo in the MyBookie Digital Studio chat since you are one of our favorite Heeligans, who's of course one of our frequent listeners. He says that if you have to get to 5-7, so you have to win 3 of the next 5 per Leon Searcy, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philly, and Houston. He has them winning 4 of the next 5, not the game at Detroit. I go the other way, and without speaking too much, someone else in the building just felt the same way as me. If the Jaguars can find a way to win on Sunday, the vibes will be so high, and then you set up the revenge game for Doug Peterson going back to Philly for the second time since he was let go. And certainly, I would argue the situation there is more volatile than their record right now suggests. The Nick Sirianni yelling at fans, apologizing, but then he has his kids. I mean, it's a love-hate, week-by-week league, yes, but also it is certainly a love-hate relationship and a week-by-week relationship between Nick Sirianni, that fan base, and I would argue probably his players too, just by virtue of how he acts out in a public eye. And so that's where I agree on paper, Lauren. That should be the team you should beat. Then you couple that with Sam Darnold's got to come back down to earth at some point in time, which is why I have more concerns about those games than I do this playing with house money this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, if he doesn't scare you, then nothing in the NFL will. But yeah,
that's there's one like miracle play every single game that Justin Jefferson does. And that's like, if you have that type of receiver, yes, you are going to win several football games that maybe you shouldn't, but that's what you get.
Yeah, and I don't think they would have ever been on the same team, right? Justin Jefferson and Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think their time.
No, because Jay Jettas, he would have left in 2020.
Yeah,
he came in 21.
And I was just thinking about the trash talking pregame. Then I was like, wait, actually, they don't even know each other.
I did uncover a fun little factoid that I don't think anybody had realized. Speaking of players who played together, not in college but in high school yesterday, my one-on-one with Trayvon Walker, which thank you to Trayvon for his time. I mean, it's one of the longest interviews I think I've ever done one-on-one with any player, let alone with Trayvon yesterday. That'll be on the Terminex kickoff show on Sunday. And Trayvon and Tank Bigsby played against each other throughout high school.
Oh.
So Trayvon is a year older than Tank, but he was talking about some of their bouts in the trenches, and it's really great. So we will have that on the Terminex kickoff show on Sunday, but that's a overlap that I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And when you think about identity and that buzzword that we've had in this town, you do start to wonder, and you can't manifest and just manufacture out of thin air this tough guy mentality. But when 2 pillars and 2 of your best performing players up to this juncture are from Southern Georgia, from, Southeast Georgia, Central Georgia, whatever you want to call it, and they have this go do the hard work, no nonsense, I just go do my job mentality that Trayvon Walker and Tank Bigsby have, maybe that's something that has been at the core of this team and we've overlooked it.
Parker Washington, too.
He's another guy who, again, from Texas, but certainly has that same chop wood, carry water mentality of, you know what, like, I'm going to just do my business. I'm going to hit him hard. I'm going to hit him in the nose. It's going to be physical. And then I'm going to walk away from it at the end of the day. And maybe that is the idea, this silent but deadly, if you may. Maybe that's like the identity that has been there. And we've just overlooked it because they are largely, comparatively to 2017, let's say.
That's not going to go on a t-shirt.
A quieter bunch
Silent
of guys.
but deadly is not, they're not going to want to rep that on a t-shirt. I'm telling you that right now.
It's something that we've also asked for here for a while too, when it came to the end of last season and we were talking about, that's the one reason a lot of people have defended Cam a lot, because Cam Robinson has been that, like, the more tough, that type of player that just brings the extra element when it comes to not the, maybe even the physicality of the football, but also what he adds in the other moments of football, and just kind of like that tough ruggedness that you like to see. And this offseason, we said a lot, like, that's what type of players you want on your football team. You don't want 20 of them, but you definitely need some of them on each side of the ball. And so having a guy like Tank and having a guy like Trayvon, who both carry that on each side of the ball, has been refreshing to kind of see. And I feel like you're seeing it more and more from Trayvon. Honestly, week by week, you're getting more impressed by him. But I do think, and Tank also, but I do think that and we had the conversation earlier in the year of like, it doesn't work when you have a ton of those personalities. That's why kind of what happened in 2017 happened. But it does happen when you have the ones that you have those few select that just are hard workers, but also bring that extra edge when they're on the field.
Yeah, I'll go back to what Jimmy Smith said when he joined Jaguars today earlier. As a receiver, he was like, a lot of receivers and a lot of DBs didn't like to be in the weight room. I love to be in the weight room because when I got out there, I wanted to know that I could physically beat the guy I'm going up against, but like I could physically beat him up. I was like, oh, that's the type of football player, like you said, that we need around here. We've got one segment to go. Hopefully we'll catch up with Peter Bukowski. If not, maybe on Monday. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. Find them online at sunshineturf.info or call Caleb and his team, 904-383-0243. You'll never appreciate your backyard more than when it has beautiful turf all year long. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for a remix on the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich? The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is a flavorful spin on a familiar favorite created with a Chick-fil-A filet, a drizzle of honey, pickled jalapenos, and a spread of savory pimento cheese. The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich combines your favorite flavors with a twist, and this year it's back with a bite with a spicy filet option. Available for a limited time only, so stop by and enjoy one today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
Big Sur's here. My cigars are back in stock at Island Girl Gate Parkway. Buy a box and I will autograph it for you. Island Girl Gate Parkway is the place to enjoy a great cigar selection, a full bar, enjoy a daily happy hour from noon to 7 and all day Sunday. Enjoy college and NFL games from noon to 6. When you buy 5 cigars, you get 1 free. Plus, live music Friday and Saturday nights. For upcoming events, follow Island Girl Gate Parkway on Instagram and Facebook at islandgirl.gateparkway.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
When you're behind the wheel of your car, you expect a safe journey. But what if the other driver's careless and you're injured? The responsibilities and demands on your spouse just doubled. You suddenly can't work. So what happens to your family's income? And by now, the emergency room and medical bills may be sitting on your kitchen counter. You've got some problems, and we want to hear about them. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Office, Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
What king in the deck of cards does not have a mustache? The answer next.
Filing any homeowner's claim is really easy with Southern Oak Insurance. Simply file your claim directly with us. We'll handle the vendors. It will save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Silly as it sounds, the King of Hearts is the only king without facial hair. Supposedly a design error.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Mia here, and I bet you are feeling good this week because we have been killing it betting with MyBookie, turning spreads, over-unders, and prop bets into straight cash only. Huge local game on Saturday night as the Florida State Seminoles are 21-point underdogs playing the undefeated Hurricanes in Coral Gables. And all day Sunday, you can get in on the action. Meanwhile, in the NFL, the Packers travel to Jacksonville where they are 4-point favorites. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-point home dogs to the Buffalo Bills with a 47-point over-under total. That's a pretty high number with key players potentially injured, and the under has been crushing it this year, so take advantage. The most bet-on game of the day each and every week is Sunday Night Football. Yes, it's the Cowboys once again in prime time, taking on the 49ers. I'd look hard at the under here, too. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money using promo code 1010XL. That's promo code 1010XL to make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
The Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium to go head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers for our crucial catch game. Join us October 27th as we fight cancer through early detection, risk reduction, and awareness all game long. Lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, rolling lot bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit ackermanurology.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars legend Jimmy Smith was a guest this morning of Jaguars Today and spoke about what he sees in Jaguars rookie first-round pick, Brian Thomas Jr.
I see a guy who's very talented. He's fast. And I'm saying this because he's got so much more to learn about the game. You know, with his raw ability, he's able to make plays. He's a playmaker. That's what stands out to me. It's just not one thing. We all know he's fast. You know, I can't really point to his releases. Can't really point to how he comes out of his routes. He just makes plays.
Jimmy Smith on Jaguars Today. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since '87.
We've had a pretty jolly sunshine and rainbows feel-good Friday here on Helmets and Heels. Not to put a damper on it, but I did just want to pay respects to the absolute god-awful news out of South Florida yesterday, or rather out of the Tampa area. Amir Abdur-Rahim, the 43-year-old head men's basketball coach at USF, scheduled to, of course, be playing here in Jacksonville in 9 days, unfortunately passed away yesterday during a medical procedure. Shocking. I didn't believe it. I haven't even told him yet, but I was on Instagram eating dinner, and I just happened to see one of our local coaches post a picture and like, "Love you, bro, rest in peace." And I was like, that's Amir. Like, that doesn't make sense. Went to Twitter, and obviously the news had just been announced by Taylor's alma mater, the University of South Florida. One of the most respected, fastest risers in the coaching ranks. I do encourage you, if you have time, to go look up his post-game address when Kennesaw State unfortunately lost to Xavier in the 2023 NCAA tournament. His opening remarks when he was named the head coach at South Florida last year in the spring. He told the athletic director then, "I hope you're afraid of heights because you're going to have to get on a ladder." And sure enough, less than a year later, they won the American in his first year. I did get a chance to spend some time with him in the games that UNF and JU played against Kennesaw State, a team that Amir took from a 1-win program his first year all the way to winning the ASUN title and, of course, competing with Xavier in the NCAA tournament. So thoughts are with not only his wife, but his 3 young children under the age of 10. It's just a god-awful situation, and certainly it's going to make that meeting between two. One is a top 25 team. One was a top 25 team last year in South Florida between the Gators and the Bulls on November 4th here in Jacksonville. It's going to make it an emotional opening night of college basketball.
Yeah, I immediately wondered if they would postpone the game based off of the circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, I would understand if they need to. I understand there's the whole, the game must go on and things like that, but it's just so sudden and so tragic. Such a young man at 43, and like you said, just it's devastating. When death is hard because it's final and all those things, and you love the person. But it's even worse, I feel like, when there's no warning whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what at least it feels like. Yeah, like you said, just a medical procedure. So if they need to postpone the game, then like I said, I certainly understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to, as we cool this down, I'm going to go to back to the Jags and the Packers because Green Bay sucks. And we got to.
Well said, Taylor. Great
Unfortunately,
pivot.
they
I
don't.
love it.
That's part of the problem.
Believe me,
I know. But one of the things that we've talked a ton about how, you want to pressure Jordan Love because when Jordan Love's under pressure, his QBR has been bad. When he's blitzed, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. When he is in those situations, he turns the ball over. We know those 8 interceptions. We've talked about all of those things, but I do think one of the things that also the Jags need to come out quick this game because this isn't a game where I don't believe this is a game where they can be down 10-0 and come back the way that they did against the Patriots. This is a different team. They're going to keep scoring. And so when you go through those numbers, the Jags in the first quarter have 374. They've scored 374, 4.43 yards per play on that. The second, it's 623. The third quarter, it's 846. And then the fourth, it's 582. So those second and third quarters, we've seen them really ramp up their offense and be able to do a lot of stuff. But the first quarter has been terrible. And then they also have started to die in the fourth quarter, too. So this is when I've gone back and I've said multiple times, can we get a full 4 quarters of football? At some point, you have to. Against teams like the Green Bay Packers, you definitely have to.
Yeah, I agree with you. If the Jaguars somehow, some way find themselves down 10-0, that's going to be tough sledding. I think for them to win the game, it's going to have to be a bit of a quirky game. I told you all the Packers are not good at special teams. They're 27th in the league. So maybe a muff punt, and that's how things get started. And then Jordan Love throws an interception. And in fact, you're up 10-0, and you can feel the Jags fans starting to come alive because I do think that this team, to use Trevor's word, in moments is fragile when they're facing adversity. They were able to overcome it in London against the Patriots, but they've got a much tougher test on Sunday. And look, at the end of the day, we've talked about them all the time. These two guys, I should say, Tank Bigsby and Brian Thomas Jr., your offense flows through them. Whether you want to run, be balanced, whether you want to pass first, whatever it is, get them the ball early and often. And we'll see Travis Etienne as a game time decision. We'll see if he's able to also get in the game. You need your weapons. And we've talked about the defense a lot too, of course, because they've started to get some guys back healthy. And our Eric Armstead, it does feel like through the first few weeks, really was missing. He had the sack against the Dolphins, and then it was a missing person for a while, but he's starting to get some push too. So I do think if it comes down to it and Cam Little needs to kick the field goal, then the Jaguars can win that game.
I think that for a second straight week, it's going to require what Doug Peterson told me is not discipline, it's just feel, and perhaps that's the case. If the run game is working, don't go away from it, because unlike against the Patriots where you were running clock, this is going to be a time of possession ball game.
Yeah.
You need to find a way to minimize the amount of times that Packers offense that can go up and down the field quicker than not just you can, but quicker than many teams in the NFL can. You have to minimize the number of possessions that they get. Yeah. And on the flip side of that, this defense, we say it every week, but they got to get off the field on third down, because those long matriculating drives, although honestly in this situation it may not be the worst thing in the world, as much as Ryan Nielsen once upon a time said nothing cheap, nothing deep. The cheap stuff may not be the worst thing, because if you then match that with long drives in which you are also scoring touchdowns, especially if the defense is holding them to a field goal or forcing fourth down miscues, like that also may be a path to victory for the Jags.
Yeah, and I think, as I mentioned earlier, number one, I've been on the run game train for weeks now of this is what seems like makes your offense just tick a little bit better. So I don't want them to shy away from that at all this season. I think it's something that has opened up a lot of opportunities for other pieces of the offense. But I do, as I said at the top of the show, I do believe this is a game. If the Jags win, then pretty much everything has to go right. You obviously don't want any turnovers. You never want turnovers, but especially in a game like this, you don't want to turn the ball over whatsoever. You do not want to let Green Bay on the field, like keep them off the field as much as possible. So if the run game is getting those, they're turning into 8-9 minute drives because you don't want them out there, because Jordan Love at the end of games will come back and score on you if you give him any time whatsoever.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the week, cover Tucker Kraft, please. Yeah. Don't let the tight end destroy you like we've seen in the past. But big picture, if the Jaguars are somehow, some way able to win this game, no matter what it looks like, the season really does start to feel like it's turned around.
Yeah.
You were able to gain confidence against a bad team, but if that leads you to then beating a good team, the optimism that we tried to kind of force a little bit after beating the Colts is back.
And if they don't?
And if they don't, the pessimism that we've had since pretty much after the Monday Night Football is back.
You're 2-6.
We're right back to
you're
who needs to
You're
be
2-6. You were 2-6 in 2022, and we asked Josh Hines-Allen yesterday in the locker room. We asked him about that. You would be 2-6, just like you were 2 years ago, and you found a way to claw yourself out of that hole. And Josh quickly noted that we have more talent than that 2022 team did.
Yeah,
I think now
that's what Shad thinks.
Yeah, I think it's what everyone thinks. If only on paper, they do have more talent. So, you know what? You don't want to know what beats talent? Hard work.
That's what I was about to say. The difference is the talent in 2022, you do feel like put more effort in all of the situations that they were on the football field. I think the coaching staff felt like, especially at the end, we're doing all of the things to put the players in the best possible position to succeed, and it doesn't feel like that. All of the formula is there right now.
The difference, honestly, Mia, is the money, the contracts that these guys have gotten, the second contracts. In 2022, they were young. They were a burgeoning football team taking people by surprise. They were able to have those crazy comeback wins, but not a lot of them were getting high dollars. And now you've got several guys on this team. I mean, certainly Christian Kirk had gotten a lot of money and Sheriff had gotten some money, but because they were free agents. But now the second contract guys, the homegrown guys, a lot of them have gotten paid. And so the expectations have then been ramped up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also, when you go back and you counted on that season, the Tennessee Titans' complete collapse too. So at the same time, you were looking at everything was going right for them, and then another team had to collapse for you to even get into the playoffs, which is fine. You take what you get. But
we're looking at you, Texans.
Yes,
hey,
looking at you.
I mean, honestly, I've said that
saying.
to multiple people. If we were to go a third straight year where the front runner in this division collapses,
but at this point, the Colts are ahead of you too. So it's not even like you're just worrying about the Texans right now. The Texans, the Colts, who have Anthony Richardson, who's been the most roller coaster, all over the place quarterback, and hasn't even played. Joe Flacco, the offense looked best with him, are 4-2. Or are they 4-2 still?
4-3.
They're 4-3
now. Yeah, they're 4-3. So they have a winning record, and it's a team that you kind of laughed at preseason because it's all Texans and Jags. So you do have two teams ahead of you that you have to worry about at this point.
They play each other this
weekend.
They do play each other, and the Colts' victories so far this season they lost to the Texans. They lost to the Packers. They were 0-2. They beat the Bears. Taylor, I won't make you relive that game. They beat the Steelers by a field goal in which they collapsed in the second half and just held on for dear life.
Yeah.
They beat somehow, some way, the shorthanded Titans, and then they beat the Tua Tagovailoa-less Dolphins. And look, I'm not trying to analyze who Indy has beaten and who they have not, because ultimately you're judged on dubs, as we welcome Joe Coward into the studio, Mr. Dubs. So that's where I don't want to belittle that record, Taylor, to your point, but also I can't help but come away from it. If you're a Jags fan, you're looking at that performance and who's on that sideline, and if that can't fire you up, knowing that they have 4 wins and you have 2, I'm not sure what
especially because your losses are also against bad teams for a large part.
Yep. Let's say hello to Joe.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Joe, I woke up feeling optimistic about the Jags. Maybe it's because the Gators are off this weekend. And so I can feel all these good feelings. But as the course of the show has transpired, I'm feeling less optimistic.
I didn't mean to bring you down.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
But you did. You did.
Well, a win over a bad team, and then you try and use that to kind of feel confident about a win over a good team. You might as well ride it right now, but the matchup does not look good for Jacksonville for obvious reasons. The defense has been horrible, and they've got so many good players that Jordan Love can deliver the football to. Now, he's thrown his share of picks. The Houston defense was able to get to him. So there are some things that can happen, but both sides of the ball for them just feel like they're playing a little bit better. But the NFL's the NFL. Look what happened last night. Minnesota lost to L.A. L.A. was a 2-win club coming in, so it can happen.
Anything can happen. Mia said she's not nervous. How about you? Nervous tonight for your Dodgers?
Oh, yeah, I
how
love
you
it.
feel
I
about
can't
that
wait.
pitching matchup?
Well, Flaherty is a guy that has been up and down so much. There's so many of our guys that have been up and down constantly. The reliever, Dave Roberts' design is actually paying off more than starters in recent history, which blows my mind, but that's probably a formula that he didn't realize would work as well as it did, and it has. So we'll just see how it goes. We're talking the biggest stars, the biggest brands going head-to-head. It'll be fun. I got Dicko, as I like to call him. Richie's huge Yankees fan from Rockaway, so we got a big bet going on and all that kind of stuff. So
you bet on your team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Joe bets.
Yeah.
You don't say. I'm
Yeah.
shocked. I am shocked.
I don't win, but I bet.
All right, what's coming up?
We'll definitely dig in a little bit on that, but then all the college football that's coming up, this A&M LSU game, you might call it an elimination game.
Yeah.
Can Navy make something happen against Notre Dame? So anyway, we'll do a bunch of college football and then obviously everything that's going on with the Jags, because Green Bay winning 4 in a row won't surprise anybody, but you can shock them. You can end their streak. So we'll get into maybe some of the hows and whys.
All right, sounds good, Joe. Thank you. We'll be
All right.
listening. That is XL Primetime. They are coming up next. But that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you on Monday. And please, please, please be a